morning, everybody.
Stay 6 feet away.
Just kidding. Welcome to Castle Rock Talk. We're trying something a little bit different here, so this is going to be a little awkward. Let me see what I can do here. Hanging out with NixFix, TruCO, Nic Trujillo. Is that how you pronounce it? Close enough? All right. Cool. So everyone knows Nic on Castle Rock Talk as the, yes, it is 6 feet. It's just the camera angle, so you can't really tell. But we are on an 8-foot bar. Nic is at one end. I'm at the other end. Leave it to Andy Grant to make those comments, of course. Jeez. Welcome. So we are going to be doing some fun Q&A with Nic, appliance repair, HVAC, whatever. It's nice having Nic as my neighbor because anytime I need help with something, I can give him a quick shout out. And I'm going to back up now, and hopefully this mic can pick up both of us on this 8-foot bar.
What's up, Nic? You're going to have to project.
How's it going? Good morning, Castle Rock.
See what this 6-foot rule thing does for live in studio stuff. And Nic's going to actually be here at my house doing some work here. I'm going to turn on the audio on the Facebook feed real quick just so I can double check what it sounds like. All right, just give me a second here while we figure this out. Cause, oh yeah, that sounds good. A little echoey, but hey, we're good. Cool. All right, guys. Well, welcome, Nic.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
You're going to have to project because this bad boy is going to have to pick us up 6 feet on either side. So tell us a little bit about TruCO and NixFix. So everyone knows you as NixFix.
Right, yeah. So
what's the name change? Tell us about that.
Well, when I first started off, I decided, if I'm going to go into this, a lot of my friends knew me as, or somebody said, hey, why don't you call your business NixFix? And they said that has a catchy little ring to it, so I decided to run with it and go with NixFix. But so a little bit over a year ago when I started my business, I started finding out I was doing a lot more than just HVAC and appliance repairs. So I don't know, I thought if I was going to grow, I was going to definitely wanted to change my name up. So I just went ahead and decided to do TruCO. HVAC, mechanical, doing business under NixFix.
Nice. So TruCO, does that come, I was trying to figure this out, is that from your name?
Yeah, so okay. Like my last name and cool. Then, so.
Awesome. Yeah. And what were you doing before?
Before I started my own business? Yep. I worked for Black Hills Energy for 16 years and
wow.
Started off as, well, before that, right out of college, I started working construction with KR Squirtfurger, putting in gas main, and was commuting from Pueblo, Colorado, up to Castle Rock every morning at my 22 years old age, and we're putting gas main up in the start of first phase of Castlewood Ranch up
nice.
There on Mickelson and all that. So
yeah, that's where I used to live, up there off of Mickelson and Bonner.
Right across from there.
Yeah, cool.
So I did gas main. Gas company asked if I was looking to jump on with them, and spent 16 years there, and went in from installing gas main, high pressure main, into their appliance and HVAC side. So
very cool. And if you're watching, make sure if you have any questions for Nic, because I'm going to have a bunch of them. Nic's actually working on our washer a little bit later today. We had bought, what was it? What's wrong with it? Some kind of motor or something, right?
Yeah, so what happens is it's just getting out of balance, and come to find out that the clothes it wasn't spinning all the water out. So typical on a front load washer, it throws it out of balance.
What are some of the most common problems you see for service calls on appliances?
On appliance side, a lot of the time, if it's a washer machine, it's usually that drain pump. A lot of the parts are composite or plastic, so with the motor windings being copper, and then you have a plastic seal around it, that stuff doesn't mesh, and so over a few years, it either starts to make a really bad vibration noise, and clothes are not spinning out. Soap, detergent's probably the biggest thing. I know there's been a huge issue. I always see it. People asking questions about why does their washer machine smell, kind of an egg odor smell, and so A lot of that has to do with liquid detergent. So when you look at a cup of liquid detergent, it tells you to fill it on a full load. Give it the max fill.
Yeah,
that's wrong. It's just too much detergent, and so a lot of that doesn't break down. And majority of people always use a cold cycle for all their wash instead of a hot or sanitize. Or some people don't use bleach, and so it doesn't break down. Sits in the washer and then just creates a pretty bad odor and mold. And then dishwasher is the same way.
Looks like everyone that's watching has a comment about you. Besides, Nic is awesome. Did repairs for us in his prior job. So that's Andy.
Yeah.
Another
Andy.
Facebook user. Nic replaced our hot water heater and furnace. Couldn't have been happier with the work and his recommendation on what we got. One of the things that's cool about you is I think you do, and if I'm wrong, don't shoot me, but you do free estimates.
Yeah, free estimates. I'll come out.
Which is rare.
Yeah.
In your industry, everyone usually wants to charge.
Yeah, no, I don't feel that's a need. Go out, give customer, explain to them everything that I would do for them, and look over the equipment and see what best suits them.
Yeah. And so to kind of give you some background on Nic, he does literally everything. So he's helped me out with my fireplace, even my hot tub. Was having some issues with the wiring, and he came over and fixed that for me. And now today he's fixing our washer upstairs, which is pretty cool. If you have any appliance repair questions, now is the perfect time to answer them. We're streaming live on quite a few different places right now. So we have Castle Rock Talk, the Shop Local, CRCO. We have the CRCO page. We have the CRCO YouTube page, and about a dozen other ones. We do have a question from Joanne. Is there a way to get rid of the mold smell in a washer?
Yes. So with that mold smell, if you have a sanitize cycle on your washer machine, you want to put it into the sanitize cycle, and you could use A-Fresh tablets. It's a washing machine cleaner. Throw those tablets inside your washing machine on a sanitize or just a hot cycle, and go through a few small loads without any clothes inside of there. Kind of clean it out, and then switch over to HE powder. That's been the best thing, is switching over to HE powder, and at least the HE powder, it'll dissolve in any temperature of water to where liquid, and you could even do it on your own. Just dip a little bit of liquid in regular room temperature tap water, and you can see how it just sits in globs down at the bottom, and that's what the problem is. And a lot of top loaders.
You also told me before dryer vents. You see a lot of those being clogged and things like that.
So one of the biggest things nowadays is a lot of these dryers, these new high efficiency machines, especially dryers, will give you an error code and tell you that it's a restricted vent. And so they actually can tell when there's not enough airflow flowing through the machine. But a lot of the newer builds, all the laundry rooms are starting to be put upstairs. Right, so when you have the laundry room upstairs, I don't know if it's code, but they exit the dryer vent straight up and out the roof of the house. Well, then you get cold stacking when it snows. It condensates in there, and then all that lint that's supposed to be exhausted actually muds up and plugs up the dryer. And so my own dryer, I think I've cleaned that thing twice in 1 year. Jeez. And some of the neighbors and just other home builders around this part of Castle Rock.
So you're saying it's probably good for me to check mine, because I haven't checked it in 2 years.
Yeah, you'd be amazed on how much lint you get out of there once you start getting in there and scrubbing it. So there's a few different methods I use, but scrubbing it seems to be the best. Work the best.
Hey, here's a good comment. Hi, Nic. He was our favorite repair guy when we lived in Castle Rock.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Whoa. That's awesome.
Yeah, so Nic's probably one of the nicest, most honest appliance HVAC guys you'll probably meet. So it's been cool getting to know him, and it shows, obviously, because I don't think I've ever heard one person say, "Oh, I wouldn't hire Nic" or anything like that.
Yeah,
that's all raving reviews. I was gonna put a link into your Facebook page in there, but I noticed
Mm-hmm.
you haven't updated your permalink for your Facebook page yet, so it's really funky and long.
Yeah, I got to get with that and get all that stuff taken care of.
I know a social media guy who need help.
Yeah, right. I know I got to get with him and get some work done there for sure.
Yeah, very cool. So what else? So you do appliances, you do HVAC repairs and replacement, hot water heaters, things like that. Fireplaces.
Yeah.
What about gas? Anything with gas? I know you're
natural gas.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, installing. Just the other day I did a few days ago I did a gas line. Customer wanted to go from an electric insert cooktop to a gas insert, and then put that in. Ran some stainless flex gas line. Pressure tested it. Being that I had the gas company background, I was able to clock the meter, as we call it, and pressure test the whole house for him and stuff. And then put him an outdoor gas barbecue grill connection and stuff like that. But yeah,
it's funny. This is random, totally off topic, but since I'm watching the screen, I really dislike my side profile. So I gotta keep going like this. And even the front profile, I don't even know about. But
I hate being on camera, so
I hate being on camera. I think each day gets a little bit easier, but it's kind of funny because I think I have to stand like this, because when I stand like this, it just drives me nuts. Ooh. Here we go. So Scott says, I need a plumber to run a gas line and install a gas log set ASAP. Is that something that you handle? You do those too?
A gas line for a log set, such as like an outdoor fireplace, or?
I don't know. I need a plumber to run a gas line and install a gas log set. Yeah. So Scott, if you are watching, maybe a little clarification on that.
I can take a look at it and see.
Yeah. So the cool thing, now let me tell you a story about Nick. This is really funny, actually. So my mother-in-law hired him to come out to her house to do. It was something with to check a boiler or something like that. Is that what it was?
Yeah, looking at maybe doing a mini split system.
Okay.
Yeah.
So he shows up in his van, which has like appliance repair. Well, she also hired an appliance repair person.
Oh yeah.
And she thought Nick was the one that was supposed to be doing the appliance repair, and didn't know he was the one there for the HVAC stuff, I guess is what it was. And she showed up and she's like, "Oh, here's the refrigerator or something."
Yeah, she's like, "Oh, here's the oven, and so this thing, this and that, and then here's the." So I'm like, yeah, I was kind of looking over it, and I actually diagnosed it all and stuff. And then the gentleman, the appliance repair gentleman that was scheduled to be over there, showed up, knocked on her door. She goes, "I'll be right back. I don't know who this could be." And she ended up sending him home, and she looked at me. She's like, "What are you here for?" I said, "I'm here to look at putting in a mini split system inside your house." And she was
so he said, just to kind of show you what kind of a guy Nick is, he just jumped in there and started working on it.
I was like, "Oh, okay. What else do you need fixed?"
Which is hilarious, but that's funny. I know when she told me that story, and she said the other guy kind of got a little huffy.
Oh yeah, I get that.
But yeah, I could imagine. But she didn't know. I guess didn't ask either. So Scott says it's an indoor fireplace and has a wood burner now.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I don't do any installation on inserts, but I can help with running a gas line, getting a gas over there.
Cool.
Yeah.
So who would do the inserts, like a general contractor, handyman, or something like that, or?
Usually I always refer whoever they buy the fireplace insert from. I suggest that they go with their installation crew.
So I don't know a whole lot about fireplaces, but you see my fireplace over there that was installed. So what's the insert part of it? Is that the actual
Yeah, so what it is basically getting in there, sizing it up, framing, putting some framing and stuff around it.
Let's do a quick look at what I'm talking about right there, that fireplace.
Yeah, that's a nice one there. But yeah, putting it in there, getting it all shimmed up and leveled and all that fun stuff. I like to work on them, but when it comes to installing those, it's just... Because then you got to run double wall venting too.
Yeah, so like mine, I had a general contractor that was helping me finish the basement that kind of set everything up.
Yeah.
And then I had a separate company that ran the gas line. So that'd be the same situation.
Yeah.
I'm guessing, right? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so he says I have the insert, I just need the line. So that's
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, cool.
Okay.
So what's your phone number?
It's phone number.
Yeah.
719-240-1558.
Cool, and I think I have it in the description up here actually too. I know you gotta get yourself a, yeah, there it is right there. You gotta get yourself a Denver number.
Well, I have the 7201, but
Oh, do you? Okay.
that's that.
Yeah, and Nick,
voice.
you've lived here pretty much your whole life, right?
Yeah, so I'm like 7th generation Colorado
Oh, geez.
native, and
Yeah, so the real deal then.
so yeah, we moved out of, because my wife and I are originally from Pueblo, but we moved up here in 04 because it was a job promotion transfer, and that's what got us up to Castle Rock, which was a little sleepy town then still.
Yeah.
I think downtown
That's
was
crazy.
lights out like 7, 8 o'clock at night. It was just dead.
Yeah, I think even when we moved here, I mean, I've lived in Colorado my whole life, but I grew up in kind of the Aurora area, and then slowly left Aurora and worked my way south. But we used to come out here in high school days, so like the late '90s, and this was like the place to get away from everything.
Yeah, we would come up to the outlet mall for school clothes.
Oh yeah,
It was like, you were cool.
I remember when they built that.
Do you? Yeah, I don't remember that.
In Park Meadows, you remember when they built Park Meadows?
I don't. No, we didn't get out of Pueblo much.
Okay. Yeah, Pueblo's a little ways down there.
Yeah.
That's funny. Cool. So if you have any other questions for Nick, we'll be on for another 10, 12 minutes or so, just talking appliances and HVAC. Oh, something that I noticed too on my furnace. And this could, let me know if this sounds legit or not, but it was really cold in here. And it was really weird heating, so like it was freezing in the basement, which I guess isn't not so normal, but it's cold upstairs too. So I swapped out my filter, no joke, and then it felt like the whole house heated up. Can that cause issues?
Filters are probably my number one call for furnaces and air conditioners. Furnace, the 6200 elevation we have here, we just don't have enough air. We don't, unless you put in air returns everywhere imaginable in a house. But the problem is a restriction of all the new 3M filters and all these pleated and whatever else they tell you, allergy, this and that. I honestly think that the less restrictive 98 cents True Blue from Home Depot or Easy Flow filters, that's all I use in my own equipment.
Okay.
They don't plug up, because when they do get dirty, you could pull them out, throw them away, but the pleated, they plug up and cause airflow issues. So your furnace could have been, call it short cycling.
Yeah, it wasn't even on, and then as soon as I replaced the filter, it literally kicked it on.
Because there's a little limit device in there, and if it registers anything over, let's just say 165 degrees, it gets too hot, that little switch is actually a protective device, so it doesn't catch on fire, doesn't get too hot, and so it cancels it out, and then it just sits there and blows cold air.
So we got a couple more questions. Nadine says, Nick, I came in late. What is the company? So you can talk about that. Then how much is a clean and service on a furnace changing an electric, sorry, I can't read, it's too small, electronic air filter?
So to do a basic clean and service, I charge $75. That's per furnace, per air conditioner. If it needs any parts, such as, furnace needs an igniter or something's going out, I'll let you know beforehand, and then of course that's an extra charge. But if it's like a combustion tune, that's a little bit more entailed. That's like fine tuning a furnace for trying to get maximum efficiency out of it. That's a whole bunch of equipment I have to hook up. That's $150 per unit. And same with air conditioner, $75 unless it needs refrigerant Freon. It's more, but yeah. So, and then there was another part of the question.
And then changing an electronic air filter. Yep.
Yeah, I would have to take a look at it and see, just to get dimensions and stuff like that, and then.
So the cool thing, because Nadine didn't hear this part, is your estimates are free.
Yeah.
So if you go out there and you're like, we can wait or whatever, it's fine. Then
definitely.
that service.
I'm just want to be easy to work with. I just, there's no need to go out and gouge somebody or charge somebody something that's not necessary. I just want that me and the customer relationship, and that's just the way I want it to be.
And Nick's phone number is in the section above, of the description of this show, so you can reach out to him at any time. Andy says, so I have a 4.5-year-old Frigidaire side by side. Bought a 5-year warranty. Have had problems with ice getting stuck in the chute.
Mm-hmm.
Had an auger system replaced, but sometimes it still happens. Ice isn't always getting broken apart. What do you make of that?
So what I'm finding out on a lot of these refrigerators, especially because Frigidaire is a good unit. I like Frigidaire. The temperatures that we set these refrigerators on, they're too cold. So when that little when it goes into harvest mode and it goes through a little melting phase. There's a little heater on the ice maker, so the little fingers turn and they're supposed to eject the ice cubes out into the bucket. The problem is by the time them little fingers get the ice that's slightly melted up to the top to eject them, they get sticky because the air temperature is about 0 degrees. So if everybody looks at the refrigerator with the digital display or the adjustment on top, manufacturer recommends 0, and I think 36 or 37 temp in the fridge. I've been turning them all up to like 5, plus 5 on the freezer and 39 in the fridge, because that's where a majority of the issues lie with ice makers. And when I was at Black Hills, the ice maker repairs were it was pretty much tanking the program because they were constantly replacing ice makers because they're all plastic now, and it's just the temps are too cold.
Yeah.
Temps, they cause a lot of other issues in refrigerators with fans and a whole bunch of stuff, temperature.
And I just, my bad, but I didn't realize this is what's hard about running the computer and talking at the same time, but I had my name across the whole thing the whole time. So
that's fine. Yeah.
So now we got yours up with your logo and your name, so if people have questions. But if you go and Google TruCO, or in Facebook you look for it, it's harder to find. So
NixFix.
maybe NixFix.
I gotta get with my,
You gotta call me one of these days. And I'll
social media guy.
Just knock it all out at the same time. That's cool. Yeah, so we got about 6 more minutes. If you guys have any other questions, thanks for the comments. There's a lot of them coming in. Marcus said, "Great job, guys." Thanks, Marcus, and thanks for the good questions from Scott and Nadine and Andy and everyone else. Amy has a question too. Is it common for a furnace blower and evaporator coil to need cleaned every 6 months?
Not necessary. I always go by I get the questions asked if I need my ducts cleaned. Customer asked me that, and it just depends on your filters. If you're changing them out every 30 days and the filters are really dirty, then yeah, I would definitely look into getting the ducts cleaned. But when it comes to your blower wheel and evap coil, the problem when an evaporative coil needs to be cleaned, the problems usually is because it's freezing up. So 90-degree days, and you're not getting adequate cold air coming out because the evaporative coil is freezing over. That usually says it's dirty. I mean, but typically like 8-10 years, you kind of want to have it cleaned anyway.
Okay.
It just dust gets through. I don't care what kind of system you have. The dust does travel, gets through, and so it gets inside that coil, but not necessary for every 6 months.
It's a little overkill.
Yeah.
Okay. Good to know. Maggie says, NixFix. He is knowledgeable and does a great job.
Hi, Maggie. Yeah.
Right on. You know
Cool.
Maggie.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Thanks, Maggie.
Yeah, very cool. Again, Nic Trujillo. Trujillo? Trujillo?
Yeah.
Why did I say Trujillo? Trujillo. All right, sorry. I butcher names on a daily basis, so whoever comes on this web little program we're doing, they gotta get used to it.
That's fine, man. No problem.
Yeah, so Nic, again, just for those who are joining in a little bit late, is kind of full service HVAC, appliance repair,
Yeah.
fireplaces, gas lines. I was hoping to do it earlier, but I would like to put a heater in my garage.
Yeah.
And that's
We gotta
something
get
you
that
do
going.
as well, right?
Yeah.
Install the heaters and the gas lines and all that.
Yeah, we just got to get going on, and before you decide to finish it, we got to get the gas line in and locate. We're gonna put the 110 electrical and get your your gas heater installed.
Very cool. Do you have a website?
Yes, so it's NixFix303.com.
And that's Nix.
Nix.
Fix. Fancy.
303.
Ooh, and so how's business? Have you, since all this COVID stuff,
Yeah.
have you still been staying pretty busy?
Yeah, so when this all, started to come out and stuff and people, we were all getting, quarantine, stay home and stuff, I got busy. That first week I was just slammed with work. And then second week, starting to dwindle down. This week it's slower. But a lot of the stuff was, customers tell me that, now being home, they wanted to get this done or that done or a humidifier installed or, stuff like that. So, but yeah, right now though is a slow season. There's always that month gap in heating and air conditioning, especially. You get the April, because you're in between your heating and cooling, and then about October, that's usually a slow month for me. But with the COVID stuff, and I mean, I ask customers if I need a mask up, put on gloves, whatever. It's always that's the topic before we get things going is to make sure safety.
Yep.
Safety first.
That's perfect. Well, cool. Well, for those who are watching, if you want to come back at, I gotta remember here, I got so much going on these days. I believe it's at 11. I'll update it, but I have Bernie who's going to be joining me for another one of these Q&A sessions. For those who don't know Bernie, he's by far probably the most knowledgeable and wealth of information lawyers that I know with estate planning, wills and trusts.
Oh, that's good.
And right now with a lot of the uncertainty and things like that going on, there's a lot of questions, and I know Bernie has been swamped because, as you can imagine, people are like, well, what if I get sick and something happens, or my parents do? Making sure that all your assets and everything are in line. So that'll be a interesting show for sure. I used Bernie. He did our will and trust.
I got to get with him.
Probably a couple years ago, so I probably need to get it updated as well. But that'll be a good one. So I believe it'll be 11 o'clock when we do that. But definitely tune in if so. And if you have any questions for Nic, you can still drop them in the comments. Nic's really active on Castle Rock Talk as well as on our CRTV Facebook page.
Yeah.
And then what's a good email for you too?
It's nixfix303@gmail.com.
So NIXFIX 303 at gmail.com. I'm going to start putting on our lovely...
Or if they want to see some of my work, my Instagram too.
Oh, Instagram. Yeah, what's your Instagram?
TruCO Mechanical.
You got to get your branding consistent.
TruCO HVAC. I know.
Update it all.
I know. I
I'll help you
gotta
out
get
with that.
going on that. I gotta just take a day off and get that stuff.
Yeah, right on. All right, everybody. Thanks for joining. Nic, thanks for coming.
Yeah.
See, it wasn't
Thanks
that
for
bad,
having
was
me.
it?